Please all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation led by Philip Duckham.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Give us some wisdom. We can use it. Give us some guidance. We can use it to help us make good decisions that will benefit everyone within the county, hopefully. Give us safe passage home and bless the people that all came out here tonight. In God's name, amen.
Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Bear,
Present.
Commissioner Walls, Commissioner Kennedy,
Here.
Commissioner Duckham, Commissioner Pileski,
Here.
Commissioner Alexander,
Present.
Commissioner Williams,
Present.
Commissioner Snell, Chairman Shotwell,
Here.
all present.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda. We have a motion and support. Any deletions or additions? Corrections? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Agenda has carried. We have no awards and recognition. Any communications and petitions, please present them to the clerk at this time. We have no special order or public hearings. We've arrived at the first opportunity for public comment. Public comment guidelines, each individual will state their name. You have 3 minutes to address the board, and you may only address the board once under this public comment opportunity and may not yield your time to others. Board members will not debate or answer questions at this time. We are open the floor to public comment.
Mr. Chairman,
Please step to the microphone, sir.
before we start, may I please correct the flags according to the U.S. Flag Code?
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Bear and Commissioner Pileski. Sir, please state your name.
Chuck Todd, Pulaski Township Supervisor. I'm here on behalf of the rest of my board, which consists of 4 other members that give me the go-ahead to come here tonight to address the Jackson County Commissioners. What I'm here for is because, as you folks know, Swains Lake is in our district, in our township, and Swains Lake has become a problem for the last 20 years in regards of any type of sewer system on that lake, specifically the south side. The South Side Swains Lake project has been ongoing since 2019, which is the 4th time that the attempt has been made due to the fact that they didn't have the over 50% of vote to do it. This time we do. On a real quick history lesson, we got to the bidding process last November, in which case we face soaring prices, whereas the engineer calculated that it would be about $21,000 per resident, which would be spread out over 40 years in their tax bill. Unfortunately, the bid came in at exactly double what we thought it would be due to the soaring prices of inflation in 2021. Therefore, he went back to the drawing board and drew up a new design, where the new design is much better than the old design, and it's going to be significantly cheaper. However, they're still faced with soaring prices, and it's going to be higher than what they were originally told in 2019 and 2020. Whereas I'm here to basically ask the commissioners for some help in this matter, consisting of if the county would consider paying for it, specifically due to the fact that there is a county park there which has significant interest of all the residents of Jackson County and other counties that are surrounding. Jackson County has a parks there and they're not part of this project and we feel they should be. They're about 100 yards from the pipe that actually runs down Swains Lake Drive. So we are asking that the township, or excuse me, that the county pay for this project in whole or in partial. And if they can, even if they can't give us the money, then maybe they could give us a loan so we could at least bypass the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which right now is in the process of being approved. However, we can't get this money approved until all easements are signed, which I've got about 80% of them at this time. And I don't know if anybody's ever done that before, but it's a lengthy process and it's a hard process. So that's what we asked for at this time. Specifically, the county parks is, like I said, an interest that should be considered in this matter. That's all I got.
Good evening, County Commissioners. It's nice to see you all again. I decided to speak with you tonight so we could touch base on a few things. First and foremost, I'd like to know where Jackson is concerning these voting machines. Are making any headway in getting rid of every single one of these machines before the November midterms? Just a quick reminder, we the people, we the citizens are watching very, very closely. We know what Governor Whitmore, Jocelyn Benson, and Dana Nessel are up to once again. In fact, they tell openly now. Just look at these proposals on the ballot this year. No voter ID, mail-in ballots with no oversight, and only the Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, has the right and authority to conduct audits. We the people see the writing in the sand, and we will not stand on the sidelines and watch tyranny take over. This is a battle between good and evil. And as a proud conservative Christian child, I know what side of history I'm on, and it's not the one who has been brainwashed. We have a serious crisis happening on so many fronts, and we have a serious lack of leadership. I'm praying you will rise above this evil and the coup taking place in our country by denying funding from Governor Whitmore or any private third-party company or business who has any interest in keeping these machines. We want one-day voting, voter ID, and paper ballots. Thank you, commissioners, for your time this evening.
Good evening. Okay, I also so proud of our young people who are standing up and learning.
Your name, please, ma'am.
Oh, sorry. I do that every time I think. Jennifer Bidinger. Thank you. Tonight, I also wanted to take the opportunity to talk about the upcoming election, and I probably will. Everywhere I go, I am taking the opportunity because this is very important to me and so many others that are concerned about it. As she said, the election proposal will cause outrageous problems to our election process and opens up the door for nefarious practices, both in the receiving of funds from wrong things that influence to non-transparent, like only certain, like we the people have no rights or reasons to challenge anything or to check anything out. And also just the extreme ability to falsify, the votes. So we really need to vote no on that proposal. Also the proposal for women's rights supposedly is so horrible. I wanted to read this and I have access if you want. We have many pamphlets to distribute to actually educate the people. This abortion amendment repeals safety regulations for abortion facilities, even protecting non-doctors who botch abortions. So that's not protecting women. It repeals parental consent and a parent's rights to protect their children. Awful. It legalizes abortion through all 9 months for any reason, opposed by 80% of the Michiganders. If the danger of the, like they propose, if the danger of the mother is in jeopardy, the doctors are obligated to not only save the mother, but deliver and try to save the baby, not eliminate the baby in order to save the mother. That is a doctor's responsibility. It also enshrines unregulated and unrestricted abortion into our state constitution forever. This is an amendment to our constitution. This is totally wrong and nefarious and wicked, in my opinion. The amendment is confusing and full of contradictions, loopholes, and unintended consequences. So definitely, we need to tell everyone we know that this is no. Just say no on all of them. All the proposals are no and should not be voted on. And I appreciate the time to say that. Thank you.
Any other public comment? And please step up to the microphone and state your name.
Hi, my name is Stacy Stoner, and I've listened through a couple of different presentations by our county sheriff about the deplorable conditions at the county jail and the one on Wesley Street. And I really don't think that township taxpayers should have to pay the millage that he's requesting, the total amount. I believe that I believe that the county has gotten some ARPA or COVID money, and I think they should do all they can to help. I mean, shouldn't wait until November to help because, you know, that this is a liability. The jail is right now, the conditions there for both the inmates and for the workers there. So I'd like to see some of this COVID money go to the sheriff's department to help fix up what they've got, or even be put towards a new jail.
Nathaniel Mulvihill, Summit Township. I want to say thank you to all the hard work you've done towards advancing the new jail. I think it's something this community needs. I think the jail that's still standing, still in use is decades, has outlived its usefulness. We've gotten more years out of that than we should have ever expected to get, both from its original construction and the few Band-Aids that we put on in the past. So thank you for trying to move this forward. I appreciate that. And secondly, on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, I'm having a movie night at the Michigan Theater where you can come down and meet me and maybe another candidate or two and enjoy the movie Hocus Pocus on me. It's a pretty family-friendly movie. And so if you've got the time Saturday, I'd love to see you there. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, I'm Ken Wyatt. Just thought it would be appropriate to mention that I'm here basically in support of our township supervisor, Chuck Todd back here, and quite a few of the other residents from the south side of the lake are also here. Just asking your consideration for the request that he's made. But also I want to take the opportunity, just as one who covered these meetings back in the 1970s, when basically the chairman's father was chairman, and a few other people who are long gone now were also active on the board. It was never appropriate for me as a reporter to do so back then. But may I just take the opportunity to thank you for so many wonderful quotes that you gave me over the years, and they're great stories. These were some of the wonderful years of my life as a journalist, and the county board was probably the one assignment I had that I truly enjoyed, getting to know the people, and so many of them became friends, as well as one of our friends here, and well, several of you are. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Bob Jones. I live on Swines Lake, and I'm in here for Chuck too. If you feel that you don't believe or have an idea of what's going on out there at the lake, come out there on a Tuesday or Saturday. I live on the northeast side, and every Tuesday and Saturday, I have a shoreline full of soap suds. And I've talked to the health department, told them to come out and look. Matter of fact, they've come out and looked on the other south side and told people what they had to do because the soap suds blow up on the shoreline. They've told me, well, a lot of that is sea foam. Well, why is sea foam only on Tuesdays and Saturdays? I mean, I tried to see different days, but I don't see different days. It's Tuesdays and Saturdays. So there is a need out there for sewers. If we can get some help from the county, that'd be helpful. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Susan Ferguson, and I just have one more comment to say on the lake issue. We've owned our home out there since 1994. For years, we didn't have any problem, but it's gotten worse over the years. And at this point, our home is not, we cannot use it. We cannot live in it. We bought an RV, and we're staying in an RV across the road because our septic doesn't work. We don't have good drainage. I know there's several other people out there that are having a lot of issues. I don't know everyone if they're as to the point where we are, not being able to use our home. I know of one family, they have 2 children, and it's pretty bad that you have to decide whether you can take a shower that day or should you do a load of laundry that day. That the drainage has gotten so bad. So I just, I really wish that you go home tonight in the comfort of your home. And if every time you turn on your water or you flush your toilet, you take a drink of water, think of us out there. I mean, you don't have to be concerned with whether you can do a load of laundry or a shower. If you can wash your dishes, if you have to put them in a dishpan, your water, and take it outdoors and drain it, dump it out in the yard. So, every time you flush your toilet, wash your dishes, think of us out there, and please consider helping us with this situation. This has been ongoing for about 20 years, and it's the expense of it has gotten so out of control. It's an average person, a lot of retirees out there, and there's a lot of people that if you double the cost, it's gotten just like anything else today's world. It's gotten so it's unreachable. The cost of it. And I don't think one particular family can afford it. So we're looking for help financially. And if you would just please consider this, everybody at Swaynes Lake would thank you. Thank you for your time.
Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Public comment is now closed. We have no special meetings of standing committees. We have arrived at approval of the minutes of the August 23rd, 2022 meeting. Entertain a motion. Questions? Corrections? Deletions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Those opposed? Duly carried. We've arrived at the consent agenda. Entertain a motion for the consent agenda. Yes, sir. Moving that way. Hold on one second. Snell. Commissioner Duckham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to pull item 9I for discussion, please.
AC. Hillsdale CRC Managing Director Agreement. We'll move to item 13B underneath the Standing Committee, Public Safety and Transportation. Is that understood, Vice Chairman Kennedy?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. That complete your removals?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Baird.
I would request removal of item 9C, 9E, and 10A.
What was the second one, sir? You said 9C and
9E.
9E. Nine C, District Court Non-Attorney Magistrate, moving to Standing Committee, Public Safety and Transportation, 13C. Item 9E, MIDC Grant Contract for 2023 Public Defender's Office, moves to Standing Committee, Public Safety and Transportation, item 13D. Item 10. Which one did he have? 10A, is that correct?
Correct.
Becomes Standing Committee item, General Government. It will be your 14A, Commissioner Duckham. Yes, sir. Any other items for further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you post the vote? We've now arrived at Standing Committees, Public Safety and Transportation, chaired by Vice Chairman Corey Kennedy. Commissioner Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our first item of business will be 13A, Jackson County Department of Transportation Operations Division Reorganization. The committee did not recommend approval on this.
The chair entertains a motion to pass this reorganization. We have a motion and we have support. Any discussion? Those in favor?
There was,
I apologize, Commissioner Duckham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I cannot support this. I see no reason to make the move. We made the move the opposite way several years ago. If it truly is not I just feel we're not treating our employees fair. If we're taking them from hourly to supervisory salary, I don't like it. I think somebody's gonna lose on this. I also think that we should close these unused positions. We either get rid of the supervisor, the supervisory role, or we get rid of the salaried roles. We don't need both. Otherwise, we end up one day filling them and raise our employee count at JDOT by another 6 people. So I can't support this. Thank you.
Commissioner Kennedy.
So I have similar apprehensions as Commissioner Duckham. Feel there better accountability in as to what hours are actually needed seasonally. Rather than moving to a salary position as this request is. We've been operating this way for several years without any issue. I don't feel the need for it at this time either, and I will be a no.
Any other commissioners? Start with Commissioner Williams and go to Commissioner Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one quick question. Is there any financial, would we be paying more by doing the switch? I guess to better ask the question.
Administrator?
Actually, our calculations so that we'd be paying less, $30,000 to $40,000 less annually for the change.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nothing further.
Commissioner Snell?
Yeah, is that number aggregative? So altogether, we'd save that kind of money.
Yeah, that's the 3 positions.
And this move, these people that we're looking to make supervisor or put them into a salary class, their job right now is as supervisors right now?
Correct. They're supervising. They're the assistant supervisors without a supervisor above them. And we want to change that because we don't want to fill that supervisory position. We don't believe we should have an assistant supervisor without a supervisor. It's like, just make them supervisor, make them salary.
So I heard one of the commissioners say that it's been this way for like 7 years. And approximately. So why now?
Well, now we've determined that, initially the idea was that we would fill the supervisory positions because, JDOT was booming, money was coming in from the state. We're doing a lot of roads. We needed the extra staff and supervision. That's not the case today. Money is tight and we don't believe we can't see ourselves filling those positions. So that's why instead of 6 people, we think with 3 we'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you for that additional information.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Just for a point of clarity, it's also a question to the administrator. When you say that it would be an overall labor cost savings, you are assuming that these hourly positions would continue to get the same amount of overtime as they did in the last fiscal year. That's how you come to that calculation.
Yeah, that's correct.
And it would be accurate to state that if they worked a flat 40 hours, the labor cost would be lower than the proposed salary. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Duckham?
So in light of what Commissioner Kennedy said, we're going to be taking these people back $40,000 a year in wages in the entirety.
Collectively, the 3 of them, yes, we believe we'll pay less in payroll.
And why do you think they would want to do that? Employees.
I haven't asked them. Have you asked them? Want to speak to that? Angie is the director of JDOT.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So yes, we did sit down and talk to the people that potentially would be affected by this. And the concerns are there as far as how things would operate. Because right now to clarify, so these are the superintendents or assistant superintendents that during the winter, they get up at 2 a.m. and drive the roads to see if we need to call crews in early at 4 or 5. Right now, they do that and then they work until the shift's done with their crews because that's, they're the core business hours and they're called in early. They have the right to do that. As a salaried individual, what we talked with them about is that they would do that still, come in at 2 or 3 in the morning, but then they'd cut out at noon or 10, depending on the weather. There's times we're going to have a storm and they'll have to work later. They know that, but they have that flexibility. They were all open to it. The only concern, to be honest with you, is taking the calls on the weekends now, because they don't do that currently. It's our hourly people that take calls on the weekends, which is part of the concerns. It's against the Fair Labors Act because it's not core business hours. So does that answer the question? I can't remember who asked that.
I fail to see why anybody would want to give up their share of $40,000. I'm not believing that. And secondly is we're gonna just put them on supervisory salary and leave them as assistant supervisors?
No, they are doing the superintendent position.
Then we're gonna make them supervisors.
Yes,
Then we will eliminate the 6 positions they just vacated
correct.
and we won't be
Well,
wanting to.
eliminate, so what I did in the write-up, we're not filling them anytime soon. The only way we would come to you guys to fill them is if Lansing increased our funding and things were booming like they were 5 or 6 years ago when we set this staffing plan up. But
Okay, so
we would not fill them for a time.
if we put these 6 on salary and make them supervisors,
Mhm.
you're saying that's the job they're doing.
Mhm.
You're agreeable, then we eliminate the other position. We don't come back and try to fill it in 3 months or 6
Correct.
months?
100% agree.
Okay, thank you.
And can I really quick, so the 30,000, it's not in one person's pocket. That's spread between them all. So some, it's only a $2,000, depending on what step they're at, 2,000 to 8,000. And in talking with them, as long as there's flexibility, they're going to get time with their family, and that's important to them. These guys put a lot of time in the winter to get to that amount that they're earning. We pride ourselves in having that flexibility. We can't give it to them currently in the position that they're in as an hourly employee. If their salary, we can give them that flexibility to have time with their family, to leave to go see sporting events. Right now, they can't in the winter.
Well, I'm not trying to micromanage JDOT, but I surmise if they come at 2 in the morning, you could actually send them home at noon. Tell them, go home, your day is done, without having to put them on salary. You better hang on to these people, because anybody's willing to give up $5,000 just to make the operation work smoother, they're darn good employees, because I don't know many people do that.
I agree. They
Thank
are
you.
good employees.
Any other commissioner comments? Madam Clerk, could you post the vote?
Could you repeat the motion, please?
Approve the reorganization of the Operations Division of JDOT by upgrading 6 positions as described in the staff report. Post the vote. Pass 6-3.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll move on to the next item, which would be item B, Jackson County Department of Transportation, Hillsdale CRC Managing Director Agreement. The committee did vote to recommend this, although there was some dissent on the committee.
Any commissioner comments? Entertain, can I entertain a motion first, Phil?
Go ahead.
Entertain a motion and then a second, please. We have a motion and support, Snell and Alexander. Commissioner Duckham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
This is another transfer of the hierarchy of the road commission that I just don't see a reason for. We say we are short on help. We have a seasoned employee here, and we're gonna 4 days a week for Hillsdale County. Money is tight. I know they were supposed to get reimbursed entirely, but I just think we either need to keep the employee at our JDOT facility as a full timer, or we need to let him go and replace him with a full timer. I don't see a reason to share him with another county. Thank you.
Commissioner Bear? No question at this time? Thank you. Any other Commissioner Snell?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I moved this so we could discuss it because it seemed to be a hot topic. I can't say that I'm totally sold on this plan. It's good to help our neighboring counties when we can. But as Commissioner Duckham notes, we seem to be shorthanded. And I'm not sure how this helps Jackson County.
Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of quick questions. Same as my last question. Is there any financial impact to the county, to Jackson County in this regard?
The employee in question is one of our most senior employees. He has 2 years left. He plans to retire. He's in the drop. We would not only be doing a favor for Hillsdale by having a senior employee help them, they will be paying his full cost to that. So in the meantime, we are exporting the cost of one of our senior employees to Hillsdale. So yeah, we're gonna come out ahead on the deal.
Okay, and my last question is the work of JC Dot, will they be affected by this in any way?
No, we don't believe they will be adversely affected. We believe that will be good for us because we're going to have to replace this senior employee, and there's some training elements that we believe that he can assist because he's still going to work part-time for us and part-time for them. And hopefully the goal will be to transfer that knowledge, his knowledge, to the other employee in place.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nothing further.
Any other commissioner comments? The other side of this, I'm going to speak to it here. The other side of this is partnering with Hillsdale County allows us to work with them similar as we have in the past with Calhoun County on many shared labor agreements and contracts. It creates an organization of trust between the two organizations for shared services, joint purchasing. They have some equipment in the past that they've loaned to us. We'll become more fully aware of how we can assist them and they can assist us, and we can begin forming a regional purchasing core here with Jackson, Calhoun, and Hillsdale counties. It's important dollar savings because as we heard under public comment, things are becoming exponentially more for us to do. And if we can buy more together with other people, we will save money for the taxpayers of Jackson going forward and create a much stronger and better overall urban road system and rural road system for Jackson, Hillsdale, and Calhoun counties. It's important that we're able to do this. We shared with Lenawee County. They helped us pave a road. And it was a short stretch of road, and we had them do it for us because it was easier than trying to spend time programming 2 years out when we could get at that section of road. So there's opportunities that present themselves, and we need to step up and do these. And the other side of it is also, it'll allow us to work towards filling in the position and getting a person to coordinate with us and gain the experience of operation underneath this current employee. So I think it's a wise decision, long-term for Jackson and short-term savings. So I'll be voting yes. Commissioner Kennedy.
So the chairman makes some valid points. There are definitely pros and cons to this. I see both sides of the coin. The major benefit to Hillsdale is they're gaining one of our most senior employees, and although he'll be retiring from here, we should really speak frankly, I believe, as to what's really happening. He's going to go down there and eventually run their road department. So that's what's going on. And is that a good thing for Jackson County? Well, as the administrator pointed out, from a financial standpoint, yes, it is in the short term. They are essentially going to be paying his fringes included and the wages. But at the same time, we're allowing another community to take one of our valued employees. So have to weigh it. So I have mixed feelings on this. And most likely will be voting no. Thank you.
We ready to vote? Madam Clerk, could you post the vote, please? Item passed 6-3. Commissioner Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll move right along to item C, District Court Non-Attorney Magistrate. Committee recommended approval.
Entertain a motion.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Bear.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was presented to us twice before, and twice before I asked to be given a copy of the specific duties of this position. I've been ignored. I have not been given that document to say exactly what these duties are. So I'm going to vote no.
No, I thought the court, this is a court decision. I believe the court provided it. That's what I thought. So I'm sorry if they didn't. But yeah, the court, the chief judge has made the recommendation. And it's up to this body to decide whether or not you'll approve.
Any further questions? Madam Clerk, could you post the vote? Motion passed 8-1. Commissioner Kennedy.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. Takes us to item D. MIDC grant contract for fiscal year 2023, Public Defender's Office. The committee also recommended approval of this.
Entertain a motion. We have a motion and support. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Bear.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know the MEDC is a non-funded state obligation. They're getting grants here. The problem I see is we've got a $4,230,000 budget for 24 staff to represent the indigent defendants that have been charged. And we only provide our prosecuting attorney less than half of that, less than half of the staff. So the IDC gets $4,231,000. Our prosecutor gets $2,003,022. The indigent accused, yes, they deserve defense counsel. Our prosecutor represents the public, represents the citizens, represents the injured by these accused indigents. I think we need to give more support to our prosecutor. And this has just gotten too far out of balance. When the MIDC gets 2.2 million more than our prosecutor. To me, there's something wrong with this equation. The MIDC gets 24 staff, our prosecutor gets what, 10? I just can't support this imbalance. The prosecutor represents the injured, the harmed, the dead. And I think we need to give more money and more staff to our prosecutor.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a lot of the same concerns as Commissioner Bear. When this indigent defense funding was proposed by the state, there were a lot of people on this board that were not in agreement with it because what it really did was created a situation, what you have called an unfunded mandate, and that this portion of it is funded by a grant to create a strong defense, which everybody in America deserves. You deserve to have a fair defense. However, it didn't create adequate funding to match that on the prosecuting side so that they have an equal amount of staff. So what ends up happening is counties either have to let their prosecutors operate as is at what some would say a competitive disadvantage, or they have to dig into their own general fund budget that help try to offset that. So it's a problem. But that being said, what's on here, what we're voting on is a grant, and it's obligated by law that we need to do this. So I'll be a yes on it.
Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Duckham.
I'd like to ask the administrator, what is our alternative here?
Frankly, we really don't have a good alternative. The state law is such that they provide for the indigent defense. They have rules written into the law that says how many cases each attorney can have. That's why they have a lot more attorneys. And frankly, the public defenders lobbyist and law doesn't require any of that. And I agree with what's being said that I wish, frankly, I think the state should fund both departments. But they've at this point chosen not to. And the alternative is we could turn down the money, but we would have to fund it all by the county's dollar then. And, frankly, we don't have the extra $4 million.
Why can I ask you why we have to go through this charade of passing this when nobody really seems to like it? Why do we have to waste our time to rubber stamp a state decision that we don't like?
I agree with you. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We're required to accept it or pay for it ourselves. And we surely don't want to do that because the law is the law. We'd still have to honor it.
Well, it's turning out like I predicted it would 3 years ago. Is this the scales of justice are out of balance? They're favoring the lawbreaker. And the only way it can be corrected is let the taxpayers step up and pay more for the prosecutor so we can make the scales of justice balance out again. It's just crazy. It's all it does is drive up the cost of the court system. Thank you.
Commissioner Bear.
The IDC defends only the indigent accused. The prosecuting attorney must prosecute the indigent accused and has to prosecute the accused that have more resources and can hire their own attorneys. So the way I see it, the prosecutor is actually having to prosecute more persons than the MIDC has to defend. Thank you.
Any further commissioner comments?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Williams?
Just very briefly, I just in some ways do agree with some of the comments that have been stated before. As a commissioner that does support the MDIC, I do think that we have a responsibility to be sure that not just the MDIC, but also our prosecutor's office has the resources it needs to rightly defend or to prosecute where needed. So if there are ways where we can continue to support his office financially, I would strongly encourage us to continue to do that and even go a step further if that's in form of a resolution or whatever the case may be. I'd like for us to continue to do such. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nothing further.
Any other commissioner comments? Any other commissioner comments? I'll remind commissioners that we notified the prosecutor that we would go forward, and upon him filling his staff completely, currently has one vacancy. He had two at the time we challenged him with this, that at the first of the year, we would review this, and if there is a direct need for us to find the money, we will find the money within the budget to give him additional staff if that's what's truly needed. So we're not just turning a blind eye to the prosecutor and telling him to go fish. We're telling him that we need you to fully staff your office and we will support you completely. And we will continue dealing with the MIDC as best we have to with the scale in Lansing. Madam Clerk, could you post the vote? Motion carried 8-1. Commissioner Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes business tonight for the Public Safety and Transportation Committee.
Thank you. Standing Committee, General Government, chaired by Commissioner Phil Duckham. Commissioner Duckham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have one item of business tonight. That would be the Region 2 Jackson County Master Plan.
I have a motion in support. Commissioner Bear.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This master plan has a landmine in it that once it's stepped on, it's going to destroy our 4-H program. I've been asking for 8 years to get this landmine taken out of this plan. Last meeting, I showed a printout from the Jackson City and County non-motorized plan. And I was challenged, well, that's not part of the master plan. Well, yes, it is. I read over that 106-page master plan again, and it states multiple times in there that the Jackson City and County non-motorized master plan is adopted by reference and is part of this master plan.
Tony, could you give us what page you're on in the master plan?
Can you use your mic? I didn't hear you.
What page are you on in the master plan right now, please?
94?
94.
The map included in this master plan is not created in high enough resolution. You can't magnify it and see the trail going right through Keeley Park. That's why if you refer to the Jackson City and County non-motorized master plan, the map in that one, it is incorporated by reference into our master plan. That map has more detail. You can enlarge it greater and you can see what is in there. So the the map included in this master plan we're voting on, the graphics are not very good. If you look to the city and county master plan, the graphics are much better. And it's easy to see how this is going to take away your 4-H program. I know we've got this coming up. I've been told that it's coming up. We can modify it. I plan to be involved in that effort. My conscience tells me until we accomplish modifying that plan and taking this landmine out of there, I can't support it.
Commissioner Bear, doesn't that same master plan, the city county one that you're referring to, also show the creation of a new building system at the park that moves the Hippodome to a different location within the park? And doesn't it also show the creation of new barns and new other items that have to be done before you can do the trail? Does it not?
I do not believe so.
Yes, sir, it does.
In these steps,
Correct. And did you
master
not?
plan shows,
Did you not serve on a committee, an ad hoc committee of the park that modified the priority of that master plan to put in place the buildings getting done before the trail was even considered? So you've modified the plan now twice.
I've what?
You've been involved in modifying the plan now twice. We've attempted to do what you've asked to do by prioritizing the different projects within Keeley Park and making sure they're being done in order to make sure the 4-H program still exists and has brand new buildings and a brand new Hippodome and a brand new area north and west of the trail before anything would be demoed. So then effectively you've accomplished your task. Now, also, have we not built a fence around Keeley Park? And have we also not inherited everything with inside the prison walls? The old prison belongs now to the county. So that pathway is now part of the parks plan. So we've done all of the things you're asking us to do.
as you said, the trail going through the prison exists. So the trail going through Keeley Park is absolutely unnecessary. And yes, I have been on the Fair Board with you. The Fair Board has said, we're making a commitment, we're not going to do this. But those people that are on the Fair Board, they can be replaced. They can die in the next month. So being at the Fair Board, I like working with them. I'm on the Fair Board. The Fair Board said, we're not going to let this happen, but that Fair Board is not permanent. That's why I'm saying for myself, until this is no longer on the master plan, I can't support it myself personally. Thank you for being on the Parks Board that said Parks is making a commitment not to build this, but somebody else still is pushing and has a commitment to build this. So once somebody receives the federal funding and says, we got the money to do this, well, how are we going to stop them? And yes, we build a fence there. Fences are easy to tear down. I mean, we're tearing down many buildings in the master plan. So the fact there's a fence there, I thank the Parks Board and the commissioners are on it with me. Thank you for putting that there, showing some protection of the 4-H program, but we're not going to be there forever. It appears this master plan is going to be there forever. So it'll probably pass. It'll probably pass 8-1, but I've just said, for one, I can't do it.
Thank you. Any further comments? Madam Clerk, could you post the vote? Motion carried 8-1. Commissioner Duckham?
That's all we have to do tonight, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Standing Committee Human Services chaired by Commissioner Earl Pileski. Commissioner Pileski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have no items for action tonight.
Thank you, sir. We've arrived at unfinished business. Region 2 resolution to adopt 2022 edition of the Jackson County Hazard Mitigation Plan. I need a motion, please.
Support.
Motion and support. Any questions or comments? Seeing or hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, sir, for attending. New business. New business, item 17, the 2023 budget for approval. Mr. Overton, is there anything you'd like to comment on?
No, I believe it's pretty clear in the staff report, and we've talked about it numerous times. I would just ask the board for support and approval.
Have a motion and support. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll? Oh, I apologize. Commissioner Baird.
Thank you. First, I have a question, then I have a motion. The opioid money that the state got, and every county has been told what they're going to receive. Jackson County, according to the state opioid distribution, is going to receive way over $1 million. So has that $1 million opioid settlement been added into our budget?
Yeah, I don't think we've received any of that money yet. In fact, we're kind of awaiting on an email to show us how to get into their system for that. Have you heard anything more about it? I mean, so far they promised, but I haven't seen cash.
Okay, in the last week, we finally received some information about the settlement, and there is a link that we are waiting on getting in order to set up our portal account. So no, we have not received any funding yet. And so it would not have been in our 2023 budget yet because it hadn't happened yet. But once we have it and we know what we're going to be starting to receive, it will be a budget amendment we'll do, Tony, for
And
2023.
isn't the amount $108,000?
The amount that I've seen was $42,000, but there's additional money that you can apply for by October 23rd.
Yeah, it's maybe a tenth of what you suggested, Tony. I think it's only like $100,000 roughly.
Right.
108 is what pops in my head, but until we see the money, I wouldn't go spending it.
Commissioner Bear.
The spreadsheet that I saw came from MAC, Michigan Association of Counties. And they gave the spreadsheet and it showed all of the counties in this area getting over 1 million.
Well, it was like $42,000 was our first disbursement amount. Now, over a period of time, is it a 10-year? Yeah. It's over a 10-year period.
Yeah, it might be $1 million over time, but it's not $1 million check or anything like that.
According to
I think it's like
MIDC, it was-
20 years or 19, 20 years.
Right, it's, yes.
According to MIDC, it was over 1 million a year for 13 years.
Yeah, well, the MIDC is not correct.
Thank you.
Hold on. Mr. Bear, you mentioned a motion. Did you want to make a motion, sir?
I move to amend the proposed budget by adding $111,000 to the county prosecutor's budget for the purpose of hiring an additional assistant prosecutor.
Support.
Mr. Chair, if I'm in order, don't we already have a motion on the floor?
What we're doing is we're amending the budget at this time, sir. This is an amendment.
Amendment of the budget. then.
Yes, sir, of that motion.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. Did I hear some more from Commissioner Kennedy?
That's correct, sir.
Dollar amount was $111,000. He feels what it takes to hire a prosecuting attorney.
Can we have a brief discussion, Mr. Chair, on the amendment?
You have a motion and support, so we'll follow Robert's rules, sir, and you may speak twice.
I appreciate that. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Okay. Given what we just spoke about, the indigent defense and the mounting team that they're getting, and I just see our prosecutor losing more and more ground. I do agree that we need to get the department fully staffed, and they are down a person right now. But I feel it's crucial we get them an additional attorney so that his staff isn't overwhelmed and guilty people get off on technicalities.
Commissioner Duckham.
We have a plan in place, and that would be to fill the entire slot of vacancies and then come back in January to review if he needs any more. We don't know if he needs another person or not because the prosecutor hasn't bothered to hire the final position in the last 6 months. So we don't know what he needs. He's got to prove it to us. I also would like to find the administrator to see if we're still doing prosecutorial work from home. I don't see how that could quite meet the muster of what is needed, but maybe there's a reason it is, or maybe it's been discontinued, but I won't support this because Jerry hasn't done what we've asked him to do. Thank you.
Commissioner Schnell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me. I've thought about this a lot. We do have a plan in place. I would like to follow through with that plan and reevaluate this in January. We have had a problem getting new attorneys on board. And as far as parity in that, I think we need to remember that a lot of the investigation work is done by the police, sheriff's department, where the defense attorneys have to do their own investigations. Sure, we have to turn over information we have, but then they have to go and find ways to refute that. Yeah, I'm probably going to vote no on this amendment.
Any other commissioner comments? Yes, sir. I'm going to speak to it before it goes forward. While we're talking about 12 prosecuting attorneys and 24 people staff in the indigent defense, we have administrative staff that we're not counting within the prosecutor's office at this time also, gentlemen. I think you're kind of being misled on your number. No, there's more than one person. And then on top of that, our clerk also works very diligently with our courts to work on both sides of that, to deal with the MIDC and the prosecutor's office. And she has constantly told us that there's a need for staff there too. So are we going to also find staff and dollars for our clerk's office? Or are we going to continue with the system that we have operating right now? I don't think it's fair to look at one person who's saying that I'm not able to do my job because I don't have enough people, so please give me more money. I'm not a fan of that. I don't believe that's the way we should operate. Let's get the thing fully operational and see what it needs to have done. And then we'll work from there. That's a much fairer and safer program to go, is show us what's going on and show us where the workload is, and then let's help. Then let's help him. I'm more than happy to help him, but show me we need it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Commissioner Kennedy.
So my question is, fair enough points. And you've been on this board much longer than I, and you understand government budgets better than I do, because I come from the private sector, as do you, but you've been around government budgets longer. But when I take a look at this, the numbers I've been shown, it shows me that the indigent defense has $228,799 after disposal, along with the public defender amount of $467,000. Okay, so I see that. I see our prosecuting attorney budget actually declining from 22 to 23, a slight amount, only having $2,003,022. I don't see any there. I looked, I did not see anything that said prosecuting staffing. I didn't see that. Are you saying that's coming out of the clerk's budget directly? Is that why I'm not seeing it?
No, what I'm saying, in addition to the prosecutor's office, the clerk's office is doing a lot of the work also for
Yes.
both sides of the agency.
Yes.
Okay, and they're short staff. and they need help. Okay, but we only have, as we all know, we only have so much money. And the administrator's office will do what we ask him to do. Okay, but I'm just saying that we need to consider everything and let's work up the plan. Let's not step in the middle of it and say that, oh, no, that's not going to work. Let's not call an audible. Let's work the plan.
I fully understand that, but we all know that the prosecutor has come to this board and has requested actually more than what we're offering in this amendment. Just to be fair, all 9 commissioners
I
were in a
appreciate
public
that.
meeting,
Yep.
heard from our prosecutor.
I'm not denying that. And I've had conversations with him also
Okay,
about it. So no, there's no denying anything here.
good enough. I'm just saying,
Up front.
our prosecutors come to us, he feels he has a problem. I do too. That's just,
I don't believe money's the solution.
money's
And
not
then-
always a solution. Organizational changes
Yeah.
can happen. I agree. You don't look at a problem as a silver bullet solution. There's probably multiple things that need to happen. But anyways, I'm good with what we've discussed and thank
Okay,
you for
we're
the
gonna
debate.
we're gonna vote on the amendment and we're gonna do it here. Yes, sir. Mr. Pulaski.
Thanks, Mr. Chair, and I've listened to all the arguments here. I think to work the plan is the appropriate thing. But I do believe our prosecutor needs greater resources, and I'm inclined to support the amendment and appreciate all the discussion that has occurred. Thank you.
Mr. Alexander.
Thank you, Chairman. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways this can go, but I think the important thing here is, from what I've heard is, even if this passed and we allocated the additional money, the prosecutor is still not using the money that we have allocated. There's still an open position that if he wanted to hire somebody today and have one more person on his staff, he's got the option to do that without us taking action. Once he takes that step and has that position filled, I think after that, I would happily support this motion to give him another $120,000 to fill a next one. But as long as there is an unfilled position, I don't see any impetus for this board to make to make any changes other than following the plan. Thank you.
You ready to vote? Mr. Bear, could you forward the amendment to the clerk, please? And Commissioner Duckham, you had a question or comment?
Yes, basically what Jeremy just said is we've been told he got to have more people, but he's not hiring them. Last time the prosecutor was in to see us, we asked him to make sure that the arraignments were covered, where the bond is set. And I don't think he's doing that. He promised us he would. And we're having people get out that maybe shouldn't get out on the street because there's nobody to challenge it really, or to challenge the amount of the bond. So he's got to get up to speed on his own. I mean, I don't know. He's had a vacant position all year, basically. Thank you.
Commissioner Bear.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All this increase would do for the prosecutor, it would give him the money so he can start looking for 2 people instead of just looking for 1.
Any other comments? Commissioner Williams.
Very briefly, Mr. Chair, I also want to mention that in that same meeting, the prosecutor, while he was here presenting to us, he said that it's hard to hire attorneys just due to the demand of private practice. So it's not so much that he isn't able to hire someone, just the pool just isn't there just due to the cost, or not the cost, but due to the price that a private practice can pay versus what the county can. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We're ready to vote.
Commissioner Bear? The amendment?
The amendment, sir.
Yes.
Commissioner Walls?
No.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Yes.
Commissioner Duckham?
No.
Commissioner Pulaski?
Yes.
Commissioner Alexander? Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Snell?
No.
Chairman Shotwell?
No.
Yes.
The amendment fails 5-4. Back to the original, the budget. Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Bear?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This will be short. I move to amend the proposed budget by adding $78,000 to the Drain Commissioner's budget for the purpose of hiring an additional engineer.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Discussion? Any discussion? We'll call the vote. This is for the amendment.
Yes, please. Just 78? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Commissioner Walls,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
No.
Commissioner Duckham. No. Commissioner Plesky,
No.
Commissioner Alexander. No. Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Snell,
No.
Commissioner Bear,
Yes.
Chairman Shotwell,
No.
6-3.
The amendment failed 6-3. We have a motion to move the question. It's not debatable. All in favor of moving the question? Those opposed? The motion, it's passed. We're moving forward on the budget. You can post. Post the vote, please, or the motion. Budget passed 8-1. We've arrived at the second public comment. Public comment, each individual will state their name and have 2 minutes to address the board. You may only address the board once under this public comment opportunity, and you may not yield your time to others. Board members will not debate or answer questions at this time. Any public comment?
I realized that Nate Mulvihill, Nathaniel Mulvihill, I realized that I'd given a date, but not a time. Meet and greet from 6 to 7:30, movie from 7:30 to 9:30. I'd love to see you there. Thank you. Saturday night.
Jennifer Bittinger. I also realized I left out a couple things. First of all, I wanted to say these are great. Thank you. It was difficult looking over here and here, seeing that up the screens. Awesome. Thank you. I wanted to say that the paid circulators for these two petitions, for these proposals, intentionally deceived the signers into signing without providing the truth about what they were proposing. Things like the election ones saying, oh yeah, this will bring a lot more, election, I can't even think of the words right now, but that was false. Okay. They deceived people into thinking, oh yeah, this will cause it to be a lot more secure. No, it's not. It's the opposite. And they deceived people, telling them all that was involved with the freedom, reproduction freedom proposal. Thinking, because I wanted to say, this is what I forgot, even if you have some concerns about justifying abortion procedures under certain conditions, some people just say, well, there's certain conditions that we want to have this available. Even if you have those concerns, this proposal is not the solution. Okay? This is a permanent amendment to our state constitution. It's extreme and it's dangerous. Did I mention that it repeals parental consent and a parent's rights to protect their children? Do we want to be the generation that enacts this into our law? No, we do not. God help us. Thank you so much.
Susan again here, in case you forgot my name. Something important that I failed to mention is that we have had the health department out there several times, and they have denied every permit, every request that we have made on our homes out there for approval for a new septic or drain field system. The houses are so close together. You know, they're just few feet apart. And these systems that were put in were years and years ago. I mean, how many years old are some of them, Chuck? 1940s. I mean, some of them aren't actual septic tanks. They're just things that were made and put in, and so they're not actual septic systems. So the perk test that they have done, you have to go down 3 feet without water in order to put a new system in. Well, there aren't any properties out there. We're floating on the water. And that's the reason that we need a septic system. Other lakes have them, and I guess Swains Lake, we're a little late in the game in this process. But our hands are tied because we can't get any permitting, or any improvements made. So in your quest for seeking, questions on this, you may check with the health department, Jason Bivens, Mr. Hudak, they're very aware of it. They were at our meeting here we had last night or yesterday afternoon. And they have more information on this, this. I don't know if it's a health issue at this point. It could eventually be one if not now. The water hasn't been tested out there. I requested a couple years ago that the Jackson County Parks and Recreation test it, and they said it was a very lengthy
10 seconds.
process. Oh, okay, thank you.
Any further public comment? Any further public comment? Hearing none. Commissioner comments? Any commissioner comments? Commissioner Bear?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess I'd like to ask the administrator to clarify some numbers for me. In the administrator's weekly update last Friday, he stated we have 1,100 employees. Yet in the budget preparation, the PowerPoint that was provided to us, that said that we had 688.8 full-time employees. So
No, those are FTEs. That's full-time equivalent employees.
yes, I know what that
Yeah.
means.
Okay.
So I'm just
Not
worried.
employees, but full equivalents. You could have.
Okay, how
you
do we
have
get
2/3. You could have a third, a third, and a third, and come up with a full FTE to be billed against our budget. You could come up with a half and a 2/3 and end up with one that's greater than. So that's how you're going to end up with that 0.8. So that number is, and within the health department is where we have a lot of those, and within the road department. You have people that are either casual or they're part-time or they're doing partial work on one grant. So we bill that against it, like the WIC program, and then we bill them against the immunization program, and then we bill them against the M-Care program where they enter everybody into the computer system. So that's how you end up with halves and thirds and quarters of employees, sir.
Okay, so if you had 3 employees, each working 1/3, when you listed employees, you would have 3. But when you listed the full-time equivalents, you would have 1.
Could, yes.
Okay, I understand that. Thank you.
Any other commissioner comments? Any other commissioner comments? Seeing none, entertain a motion. Oh, I apologize, sir. You need to get a little faster. I'm sorry about that.
I appreciate the folks who have come out from Swains Lake and Pulaski Township tonight. Look forward to having discussions about the dilemma they find themselves in and what might be done to alleviate that without getting into any specifics. Appreciate the chance, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
In accordance with MCL 15.268 (C) collective bargaining agreement negotiations, I need a motion to go into closed session, please. We have a motion and support. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Mr. Chair. Commissioner Kennedy? Commissioner Duckham? Commissioner Pulaski?
Yes.
Commissioner Alexander?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Snell? Commissioner Bear? Commissioner Walls? Chairman Shotwell?
No.
No? All right.
If I might
Thank you.
make a quick announcement, like other meetings, my chickens are laying more eggs